groupies anymore. They have friends, and the groupie syndrome seems to be centred around people like David Cassidy, the Osmonds, the Jackson 5. The less sophisticated audiences do the less sophisticated things for their rock groups.
Well, the term groupie only comes up when somebody's doing an interview like this and they extract it out of a thing, you know, because for the public at large, it's a mysterious sort of sexually titillating issue to throw in on the side.
That's incredible, isn't it? Because the name itself has been around for something like 5 years.
Yeah, at least that. Well, you know, you do have friends. You meet nice people when you go out on the road. And a lot of them happen to be girls.
Is there anyone in the audience now who'd like to raise anything? No? Too late? Right. It's a big chance. Make it quick, please. 15 minutes to make it mine.
Complete control of your artistic output now.
What?
You obviously have complete control of your artistic output at the moment on record. Could I ask you to what extent you think somebody at the beginning should compromise their art, such as it is, you know, for the sake of getting public recognition?
As little as possible.
Right.
I wanted to ask you whether you were misquoted the other day by, excuse me, one of the few underground papers in Australia, Digger, and I'm not connected with it, when you said that you were worried, or words to this effect, you were worried about not having made a cent out of the Zappa poster showing you on a toilet seat.
No, I didn't say I was worried. I just mentioned that in passing because they were asking about the origins of the poster, and I went through the process of explaining the copyright laws and so forth. And that's to inform people that I did not sit on a toilet in the hopes of selling millions of posters worldwide to earn my living from that. I play music. And unfortunately, more people know my face.
I think it must have been a misquote again, because it certainly emphasized the fact that, you know, what seemed to worry you was the fact that you weren't getting any money out of it. And why I brought that up was because it seems to me that you're in a false position here, and that a lot of us are in a false position here tonight, because you're being sort of foisted upon a middle-class audience as a revolutionary. You're not. Neither
Well, that's
are
been
we.
knocked on the head, that's for sure.
Well, I think so, Bob. But I think your questions have only accentuated the sort of middle-class prejudices that people have about the rock scene, using that Slade
look,
film
what I was doing, I was asking the questions that people really ask. Not dummy questions, but dinkum questions.
No,
You
they're
may
not
like
dinkum
them.
questions.
You may not like them, but they're
How
real.
do you know they're dinkum questions? Ask the audience.
Okay, and if we've answered, if Frank Zappa has answered to the best of his ability, some, that's good. That's a net gain, isn't it?
But he's an individual. You're putting him up as a rock idol, you know.
Look, everyone's an individual. Everyone's special.
Everyone's a rock idol?
No. If we worked on that basis, we would never have anybody on Monday Conference. Everyone's special. Not only rock stars, everyone's special.
But don't make people what they're not, you know.
Talking about manipulation by the media, last night on the ABC, the program This Day Tonight had a little bit about predicting the next coming musical scene, and they predicted that we're going to come back to clean-cut music and clean-cut musicians especially, and that we sort of surpass the dirty scene, which a lot of us are involved in. Is this important to you, how you come across to people? Obviously it is, but could you comment on that a bit more?
Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I think that you're being manipulated when somebody tells you in advance what the trend is supposed to be, because obviously they got a bunch of it in the warehouse they're going to sell you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Do you approve of, there's a lot of musicians coming out these days who make a great thing of their musical virtuosity, especially in guitars, people like John McLaughlin, who I think is most famous for his just ability to move his fingers fast. Do you approve of that, or do you prefer in guitarists just a tasteful playing?
Well, I'm impressed by both. You know, anybody who can move his fingers that fast is certainly entitled to some credit. You know? But I would rather listen to somebody who surprises me, because the ability to play scales up and down an instrument, whatever that instrument is, fast you can go, is something that you can practice forever and ever and just develop manual skill. But in order to play something that just surprises you out of your chair, now that's a little bit harder to do.
Who surprises you? Who surprises you?
Not too many people.
One of the points about John McLaughlin is his religious thing, though.
So, I'm sorry,
Isn't it?
Make it short, though.
Yes. It's that he's using music to convey his religious beliefs. Is this a valid use of rock and roll?
I think it is if it's his own personal taste. I use the music that I convey to convey my own personal convictions about the way I live, because it's all derived from my personal experiences. So I guess it's fair.
Do you ever see yourself coming back to something quite so verbally oriented as the Fillmore album?
Oh yeah, it's always possible. I just do whatever I feel like at the time. The next album that we're putting out is it's all vocals except for 2 songs.
Why did that album happen just at that particular time?
Which, the Fillmore album?
Yeah.
It happened because there we were on stage at the Fillmore and we played it, and I thought it was good and we put it out right away.
Anyone else from the panel? Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question. What you thought of groups like Alice Cooper, who, you know, they kind of got very famous now, and they started off doing a lot of very sadistic acts, like killing chickens, things like that on stage. Do you think that the audience has come along to see them kind of... Well, there's one act where Alice Cooper cut his head off. At least they thought it was Alice Cooper's head that was decapitated, but fortunately it wasn't. Do you think the audience has come along to see a show, to be entertained, or they come along for an outlet for their aggression because they're frightened by the kind of increasing level of violence in society?
Both. Definitely both.
Mm.
And the
You
fact
feel
that
it-
they are entertained by that is pretty unfortunate.
Mm.
Do you feel that the popularity of hard rock music with young girls is a result of the fact that their aggressiveness, particularly their sexual aggressiveness, has been suppressed in society?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you think that rock is going to become so complicated, as your music is very complex now, that it's going to lose its audience?
No, I don't think that there are too many groups that are going to go in the direction that we go in, because they can't really, you know, it's easier for them to stomp it out, because I think more people, statistically, would rather hear it stomped out. And so it's not very tempting to put together something complicated when it's more fun to stomp it out.
Well, do you think the people going back to the primitive thing are also going to lose their audience because of the increasing sophistication of some of the band?
There will always be an audience for stomping it out music.
The United States Supreme Court, as you probably know, has reversed its old ruling on the test for obscenity and made it much stricter. I mean, it's now a less liberal definition of it. Is this going to affect your work in any way?
Yes, it will.
In what ways?
Well, the problem in the United States is you have a lot of states where you don't have so many here, and each area is left to determine its own values as to what is pornographic or obscene or actionable by a court and so on and so forth. And in each one of those areas you have people who are out to make a reputation for themselves as upholders of justice and protectors of the whatever. And so as you ship a piece of merchandise across a state line, one state, the social attitudes towards certain words or descriptive pictures or whatever, in one state it might be okay, in another state it might be not okay, and so consequently you're going to wind up with sprinkled lawsuits all over the country, and I think it's really a step backward.
Frank, thank you very much. I'm sorry, that is the time. Thank you very much for joining us on Monday Conference.
All right.
Thanks for... I should say that Frank has flown up from Melbourne especially to be with us, to confront his middle-class audience of one. We do appreciate that very much, that he's given up the rare delights of a Saturday night in Melbourne to join us. And in return, I should mention that Frank will be having concerts in Melbourne on July the 6th and in Sydney on July the 8th. May I thank the panel as well for participating tonight, and all the members of the audience. And now we'll go back to the rehearsal on Friday, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention in Melbourne. There'll be another Monday Conference next week. Till then, good night.